Elisa Esposito is a quiet, gentle woman who cannot speak, but every look and every movement is filled with meaning. She lives in silence, yet her soul speaks loudly. Trapped in a tiny apartment where days pass in the same rhythm, with no family, no friends, no change. Orphaned at birth, abandoned by a river, raised in an orphanage, marked by strange scars on her neck that doctors say damaged her vocal cords, but she never lets her silence define her. In her whole life, only two people have truly been there for Elisa. First is Giles,
my dear child,
her kind but also lonely neighbor, who is also a struggling artist and paints outdated ads. And second is Zelda,
my feet are already killing me.
Elisa co-worker who understands her sign language and speaks for her.
You got to learn to be on time. Hey, what you doing? Leave her alone, woman. I was keeping her place.
But the world around them is anything but calm. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in the Cold War, racing to outsmart and overpower each other, spying non-stop, with tension thick in the air. And Elisa works at a high-security research facility in Baltimore. And one night, she and Zelda report for their shift, because they're trusted with the most sensitive areas, even the classified labs. While cleaning a strange lab, Colonel Richard Strickland storms in with his team. He's leading a secret operation and wheels in a massive tank sealed behind thick glass, full of cloudy and greenish water hiding something inside. As Richard talks with scientists, Elisa, curious as ever, edges closer and put her hand against the glass. And then, out of nowhere, a huge claw, reptilian like a crocodile's, slams against it. She jumps back because the power behind it is terrifying. Then facility's security chief quickly escorts Elisa and Zelda out, locking the lab behind them. Later, while cleaning the hallway just outside, they see Richard stumble out. Blood pouring from his hand and his two fingers cleanly severed. Then he collapses, because something inside attacked him. So scientists rush him to the hospital, and though Elisa and Zelda are told to stay out of it, during their break, the security chief assigns them to clean the lab, and what they find is horrifying. Blood smeared across the walls and floor, signs of a brutal fight. Then they given just 20 minutes to make it spotless, and they work in silence. Then Elisa finds Richard's fingers lying on the floor, but she doesn't flinch, calmly picking them up and sealing them in a packet, because she's composed even in the strangest moments. Then Zelda uneasy grimaces and rushes out to alert security. Alone now, Elisa senses something movement in the murky water inside the tank. A shadow passes by and she leans closer. That's when she sees it, an extraordinary creature. Just then, footsteps echo down the hallway, and the creature vanishes into the depths. Then Zelda returns with security, and Elisa quietly hands over the severed fingers. But in next night, after all staff has gone, Elisa sneaks into the lab using her access pass, because her curiosity refuses to rest. Inside, she finds the creature chained in a water-filled pool, and without hesitation, she sits nearby, gently holding a packet of boiled eggs. Something tells her it might be hungry, so she peels one and shows it to the creature, then takes a bite to prove it's safe. But when she offers it, the creature growls, mistaking her for a threat, and Elisa backs away because its response is fierce. But she doesn't give up. Using calm hand signs, she tries to reassure it, then carefully places the egg by the pool's edge, and the creature snatches it and disappears into the water, leaving Elisa smiling as she steps out, because something between them has begun. Outside, Zelda waits and informs her that Richard wants to see them. Soon, they're in his office, and Elisa notices his hand. The fingers have been reattached. Then Richard tells them about the creature, how he captured it from deep in the Amazon, where villagers worship it like a god, but he insists it's dangerous. He warns them to keep their distance during cleaning, because to him, it's just a wild beast. But Elisa doesn't see a monster. She sees something more, something like her, and in its silence, she recognizes her own. The next night, Elisa returns with more eggs and a hidden music player. She places an egg by the pool, then plays a soft, haunting tune, and the creature slowly rises because even he can feel the music. Day after day, she visits, bringing eggs and playing different songs, and the creature begins to trust her. It starts learning her signs, mimicking her gestures, because their bond grows stronger with every moment. One day, the facility's chief scientist, Robert Hofstetler, catches Elisa interacting with the creature, while Richard sees it as nothing more than a dumb animal. But now Robert watches the two communicating in silence and realizes the truth that this being is intelligent. But he says nothing to Richard, because Robert has secrets of his own. The very next morning, he travels to a secluded spot. A car pulls up, its driver demanding a password. And once Robert gives it, they head to the back of a quiet restaurant. There, in the shadows of the kitchen, two men greet him. Not as Robert, but as Dmitri, revealing he's been a Russian spy embedded in America for years. Then Robert shares everything about the creature, how it understands signs and music, and warning that its intelligence could turn it into a powerful weapon for America. He urges his comrades to steal it for Russia because time is running out. That same night, Elisa returns quietly with eggs, only to find the creature chained out of water, battered and bleeding. But she hides just as footsteps approach, and Richard enters with Air Force General Frank. And Richard is the man behind this brutal treatment, because Richard believes the creature holds magical powers that could win the Cold War. But after seeing its broken form, his hopes shatter. Then Air Force General Frank studies the creature with suspicion, questioning its nature. So Richard tells him of its Amazon origins, the worship by locals, but dismisses it as just an animal now, his faith in its power gone. Then Robert appears, heartbroken and furious at the cruelty. He confronts Richard, but Richard shrugs off his concerns, calling the creature useless. But Robert argues back that this being can breathe on land and water. Maybe he even survived in space. It's a scientific marvel, and it must be studied alive. But the general and Richard plan to dissect the creature to learn its breathing secrets. But Elisa, hidden nearby, aches at their words, her heart breaking for it. Then Robert protests fiercely, saying there's no right to kill it needlessly. But the general, flaunting his power, silences him, and they all leave. Then Elisa steps out, determined to save the creature. After her shift, she tells Giles about the torture and the impending death, begging him to help rescue it because her resolve is fierce. But Giles hesitates, thinking she means a simple fish and calling it foolish. But Elisa signs back, explaining the creature feels like a human, accepts her without judgment. Seeing her passion, Giles agrees to help. Meanwhile, Robert meets his Russian comrades. They give him a device and injection, saying stealing the creature is impossible, so they'll kill it in America. And the device they given him will shut down the facility's power and cameras for 5 minutes, allowing Robert to inject and kill the creature. Yet, he's torn inside, his heart fighting loyalty. Next morning, Richard plans the dissection, but Robert struggles to save the creature, and Elisa and Giles hatch a plan to smuggle it out in a laundry van. So Giles paints the van to mimic the facility's laundry service and forges a staff ID, and Elisa tells him to arrive at the loading dock at 5 a.m. during the staff shift change. Then Elisa arrives for her shift, waits for dawn, and just before 5 a.m. she sneaks into the lab, tilting the camera upward to avoid detection. And she tries to free the creature from its chains, but Robert enters. Seeing Elisa tries to rescue the creature, and Robert, moved by her compassion, hands her the key to free it. As the cleaning shift changes, Zelda notices Elisa's attendance card is still there and realizes something's wrong, so she starts looking for her out of concern. Here, Elisa and Robert free the creature, hiding it in a laundry cart. Then Robert tells Elisa to keep it in salt water with nutrients added every 3 days, and promises to cut power for 5 minutes to help her escape, and then leaves because their alliance won't last long. Outside, Giles arrives at the loading dock, but a guard stops him to check his ID. And Richard watches on CCTV and gets suspicious because it's too early for laundry. So he calls the guard, but guard notices the ink on Giles's ID is smudged. Then immediately guard pulls a gun, ordering Giles out, and Richard rushes toward the lab, and Elisa going outside with the creature, but Zelda intercepts her, worried for her safety. Then Robert cuts the power, plunging the facility into darkness, and urges Elisa to hurry. In fear, Zelda hesitates but helps her, while Robert spots Giles at gunpoint, so he quickly injects the guard to knock him out. Then Giles reaches the dock, Elisa loads the creature into the van, and they all escape. And Richard, who suspects a bigger conspiracy, has done this but doesn't know about Elisa or Robert's involvement. Then Elisa brings the creature to her apartment, placing it in the bathtub filled with salt water and Robert's nutrient. But creature still struggles to breathe. Then she remembers Robert's advice to add more salt. Suddenly, it stirs, breathing deeply and fully revived. When the general learns the creature was stolen, he threatens Richard's job, pushing him to search harder as pressure mounts. Then Elisa plans to release the creature into a canal connected to the ocean on November 10th, when heavy rains raise water levels, marking the date carefully on calendar. And she cares for the creature tenderly, and Giles watches it when she's at work, their teamwork holding strong. But one night Giles falls asleep, and the creature leaves the bathroom in curiosity. It encounters Giles' pet cat, and cat attacks it. Then Giles wakes to a scream, finds the creature devouring the cat, and when he tries to intervene, it slashes his arm and flees. So Giles calls Elisa, who returns to tend his wound. He explains the creature acted out of fear, urging her to find it. And Elisa follows bloodied claw marks to a theater below her apartment, finding the creature mesmerized by a film. Luckily, the theater is empty, so no one sees it. Then she calms it and brings it home. After all this, she bandages Giles, and then the creature approaches Giles, touching his head and then its own, emitting a blue glow. It places its hand on Giles's wound, showing regret and seeking forgiveness, and Giles understands and forgives it. Then Creature begins grasping human emotions, growing to love Elisa, who returns the feeling. Their bond deepens both physically and emotionally, as they find solace in each other. Meanwhile, Richard hunts the Creature, suspecting Robert, who opposed its death, and monitors him as doubt grows. And Robert's Russian comrades believe he killed the Creature and promise to bring him back to Russia, trusting his loyalty. One morning, Giles wakes to find his wound healed and hair regrown. He realizes the Creature's magic and calls it divine, its power undeniable. But Elisa is unsurprised, because she has long felt its wonder. Then the day arrives. Heavy rain pounding the city, filling the canal to the brim, and the moment to set the Creature free is now. But Elisa, deeply in love with the Creature, aches at the thought of parting, her heart breaking with every imagined step away. But she knows if she doesn't release it, Richard will find and kill it. Meanwhile, Robert prepares to flee the country, and his Russian comrades summon him to a desolate meeting spot with his belongings. Then Robert reaches the empty location and his two comrades appear, but then draw guns and shoot him. He writhes on the ground as they try to finish him. Richard arrives, gunning down the Russians and approaching Robert, who writhes in agony. After realizing Robert is a Russian spy, Richard tortures him, demanding to know which gang stole the Creature. But Robert, dying and laughs weakly, revealing it was no gang but mere cleaners. Richard instantly understands only Elisa and Zelda had lab access. He kills Robert and heads straight for Zelda's home, and rage fueling him. Then Zelda, with her husband, faces Richard's threats as he demands the Creature's location. She refuses to betray Elisa, standing firm, loyalty binding her. But her cowardly husband, trembling under Richard's fury, confesses the Creature is with Elisa. Then Richard races to her apartment, but Zelda phones Elisa, warning that Richard is coming. So Elisa and Giles scramble to move the Creature as danger closes in. They escape with it toward the canal before Richard arrives. And finding the apartment empty, Richard erupts in fury, but then spots a calendar marked with the rainy day and the dock. He realizes Elisa plans to free the Creature at the canal. At the canal, Elisa and Giles arrive with the Creature. The moment of separation tears at Elisa's soul, but she buries her emotions, bids it farewell, and turns away, swallowing tears because duty outweighs love. But Richard reaches the canal, attacking Giles first and knocking him unconscious with a brutal blow. Then he shoots both Creature and Elisa. Then Giles stirs, grabbing a plank and striking Richard. Then he rushes to Elisa, but it's too late because death claims her. Then Giles cradles her weeping, but the Creature's body begins to glow and stirs awake because it cannot die. It wipes away its wound like ink and sees Richard rising, reloading his gun to finish them. Enraged, the Creature slashes Richard's throat with a claw and he collapses dead. Then Creature turns to Elisa, heart shattering at her lifeless form. It lifts her into its arms and leaps into the canal. Then Elisa sinks toward the depths and the Creature swims close, gazes at the scars on her neck present since birth, places its hand on them, kisses her tenderly. In a moment defying belief, her scars transform into gills like a fish, and Elisa awakens, breathing underwater. She now belongs to the Creature's world, and they embrace, vanishing into the ocean's depths. Here the story ends. If you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and tell me review of this video.